Alright everyone, we start off today with insane levels of cope. The legacy media has a new astroturfed concept, which is trying to compare Joe Biden to Ronald Reagan. By the way, the second I start talking, the cat starts trundling over. She knows that she's going to get petted because I can't go anywhere. Yes, I don't know whether you're very dumb or very smart. Sort of like Quint wondering about Jaws or something like that. She does shark around on the floor, by the way, too. And she does nibbly things sometimes. This is insane levels of cope. There are a number of problems with the comparison between Biden and Reagan. The basic premise of the comparison is, well, Joe Biden had a bad debate performance, and there are questions about his mental health, questions about his dementia, and so forth. Well, Ronald Reagan faced those questions, too, when he was running for re-election. That is true. Here's the litany of problems with that. Number one, while Ronald Reagan did have cognitive decline when he was seeking re-election, it was not at that time dementia. Had he developed dementia around that time, he wouldn't have lasted as long as he did. Dementia tends to progress relatively rapidly over the course of a few years. He was still coherent and cognitively impaired, but still with it at the end of his presidency. By the end of his presidency, he was developing dementia, or so it seems. But he didn't have dementia in 1984 or 1983. He just was getting older. And so also the wear and tear of the presidency affects literally everyone in that office. Have you seen like the before and after photos of everyone who's been in office? This even affects middle-aged presidents like Obama or JFK or Bill Clinton, to an extent like even Bush, like he was in his 50s. When he leaves, I think he was in his early 60s. They age relatively quickly, both because of the average age range involved with the presidency and the stress of the office. Reagan in 84 is not the same as Biden in 2024. Biden is going into a prospective second term should he be reelected, which I don't think he will, but based on polling, I think that's fairly clear. But let's say he gets a second term. He starts off the second term with fairly significant dementia. Ronald Reagan started his second term just being a little bit slower than before because he happened to be old, and ended his term with arguably early stage Alzheimer's disease. He died with Alzheimer's. There's a sad story about how apparently Ronald Reagan, his security detail there, they really liked him. He was really fond of cleaning his pool. And so, like, he would clean the pool and then he would putter around. And he liked it so much that the Secret Service agents would dump more leaves in the pool because he had dementia. He had no idea that he could just clean the pool, and so he could clean it again. And then this was a form of recreation for him because he enjoyed it. And, you know, good people, I suppose. That's the kind of allies to have. Anyway, Ronald Reagan at that point did not have the same level of cognitive impairment that Biden has today. Biden had about that level of cognitive impairment 4 years ago. And so he has progressed beyond that. The worry is, of course, if Biden gets a second term, he's not going to finish it. He will probably croak or be incapacitated in 25th if he gets a second term, leaving you with President Kamala Harris. That's problem number one. Problem number two. I watched the old Mondale debate. I mean, the comparison's not even close to apt. I watched the Biden v. Trump debate from the other day several times and got a good read on just how fucking screwed up Joe Biden is. I compared it to the Mondale debate with Ronald Reagan back in the middle of the 80s. They're not even close. Ronald Reagan does not sound like his voice has gone, through a cheese grater, number one. Number two, he looks much more energetic than Biden did. De-energized to an extent? Yes, but then again, so did Obama in the Denver debate because of altitude sickness. That's just a thing that happens sometimes with debates. You get insomnia the night before. I've had that problem myself. I'm a lifelong insomniac, etc. Sometimes the trees are fucking. My voice gets hoarse. It's not evidence of dementia in and of itself. Ronald Reagan was sharp, which is what they're trying to cast Joe Biden off as at the moment. We'll be talking about that in today's live stream. He was coherent, as opposed to occasionally saying something that you can't even tell what the fuck he's talking about. Trump seemed genuinely confused twice during the debate. He's like, I don't know what he's talking about, and I don't think he knows either, is the quip. I can relate because there were a couple of times that I didn't know what Biden was even alluding to. There's also new audio today. I am not sure if it's a deep fake or whether it's real. Supposedly, Joe Biden went on some Pennsylvania radio show and started talking about being the first black woman president or something like that. I can't vouch for whether that's real. People are fact-checking that literally right now for me, and I'll put that in the docket. If it is indeed true, if I can get an actual link to it, holy shit, holy fuck, it'd be worse than the debate. And if it goes viral, then Biden might actually drop out, assuming that it's real. Ronald Reagan never had one of those moments during his debates with Mondale. Did he seem a little bit more de-energized than before? Yes. Was he fucking old? Yes, absolutely. The fact that you're fucking old doesn't mean that you have dementia. The fact that you're fucking old doesn't mean that you can't be sharp. But you're not going to have the same energy. Like if I live to be 75, I'm not going to have the same kind of energy that I have right now at 36. That's just the long and short of it. I won't have the same energy when I'm 55. It might not even make it that far. The world could end or something like that. Reagan was reasonably coherent, though, throughout the debate. He knew what he was being asked. He responded in kind. He was able to jab his opponent, the famous line about youth and lack of experience with Mondale, which was considered hilarious even by his opponent. Even Mondale was laughing uncontrollably at that one for a while. But Reagan knew where he was, clearly knew what year it was, clearly knew what he was talking about. You may not agree with his ideological stance, but people couldn't claim that he was demented in 1984 when he was running for re-election. People can claim that Joe Biden is demented now running for re-election in 2024. In fact, I claim it absolutely. We saw it ourselves. Don't be gaslit. Do believe what you saw and what you heard. It's a Joe Biden that cannot govern. I mean, there are members of his own party talking about him standing down. Reagan never faced that. It's a totally different story. So when I see legacy media cope saying, well, Reagan pulled it off, maybe Joe can too. Well, they're two totally different dinosaurs, dude. I mean, they're both dinosaurs, but there's a difference between a T-Rex and a Triceratops, and I guess Biden is the latter. Slow and lumbering and not knowing where the fuck it is because its brain is the size of a walnut. It doesn't make any sense to make that comparison other than talking about the public querying the concept of cognitive decline. With Reagan, yeah, you're old, you're slowing down. So is Trump, by the way. 2016 Trump had a lot more energy than 2024 Trump, but he's still there. He still knows what he's being asked. He's still capable of responding. If anything, he knocked it out of the park. He was very linear in his responses. He still does have energy, which is well beyond the ability of the average person of his age range. Joe Biden is aging more in a normal sense. The problem is that the average lifespan is less than 87 years old now, isn't it? He's not going to make it through a second term. He's declining too rapidly. You are electing Kamala Harris if you elect Biden. When people talk about punting him, by the way, and saying, well, we'll just get Kamala in there. That's fine. She's already on these inked ballots. That's great. She's going to be your president anyway, so I don't see what the issue is. Why bother? Just run Joe. I suppose it's about electability. No, there is no comparison between Joe Biden and Ronald Reagan in any cognitive sense, in any ideological sense, by the way, or in any sense with regards to simply organic intelligence. That's about all. Peace out.